Tesla making a U-turn. Elon Musk abandoning his plans to take Tesla private after his tweet shocked investors earlier this month. Musk says shareholders persuaded him against the idea. In a statement released late Friday night, Elon Musk wrote this: "Given the feedback I've received, it's apparent that most of Tesla's existing shareholders believe we are better off as a public company, although the majority of shareholders I spoke to said they would remain with Tesla if we went private. The sentiment in a nutshell was, quote, please don't do this. I knew the process of going private would be challenging, but it's clear that it would be even more time-consuming and distracting than initially anticipated." The stock down nearly 15% since Musk's tweet on August the 7th. Joining us now is Tim Higgins, Wall Street Journal tech and autos reporter, with a great front-page story today on these developments, along with Tasha Keeney, analyst at ARK Investments. Tim, to start with you, Elon Musk's credibility has gone from bad to worse. Where does he stand with the board and the feeling among these big shareholders about his ability to continue to lead this company?
Well, late Friday night, the board, many of the board members put out a statement saying they stand behind Elon Musk, and they're watching him very closely as he go forward to continue making those Model 3s that he needs to do to start generating cash. Remember, that's what he was originally supposed to be focusing this quarter on, was continually making Model 3s at a rate of more than 5,000 a week to generate cash, to get profitable this quarter.
Well, how rash, Tim, before we move on to Tasha, how rash was this idea? Was it something that Elon Musk, because he hates the short sellers, cooked up in his own brain and threw it out there on Twitter without how many people were consulted ahead of time and were aware that he was going to say funding secured at $420 a share?
Well, according to people I've talked to, he's thought about this idea for a number of years. Even talked to Michael Dell about his experience going private again, and consulted some lawyers about it, and really been kind of going back and forth in his mind. And at the end of June, when he'd reached this rate of finally making 5,000 Model 3s in a week, there was this thought in Tesla that some of the pressure, the external pressure, would be relieved. But instead, last July, we just saw continued pressure on Tesla. Elon Musk getting into some Twitter battles with shorts and really just feeling embattled. And, his attention turned back to this idea of going private.
Tasha, Tim, in his article in the Wall Street Journal, along with co-writer Liz Hoffman, they go through the reasons why it would be difficult to go private for Tesla in the first place. A buyout would force some of the major technology mutual funds that have been great supporters of his to trim their stakes. A lot of the smaller investors who have been so incredibly loyal and devoted to Tesla and Elon Musk would not be taken along in going private. And Elon Musk pushed back on some of the investors that would be needed, like, say, a Volkswagen. He didn't want a competitor inside the company basically messing with his vision. So is Tesla better off staying public, do you think?
We certainly think so. Tesla's one of our top positions at ARK Invest. We have very high conviction in the name. And we think that the public markets should reward the stock, much like Amazon has been rewarded. It's one of the best performing stocks this year. But if you look back, people were pretty unhappy that Amazon was not making earnings for a long time. I think Tesla's a similar story. And in our bull case, we think the stock could go to 4,000 over the next 5 years. So it's just a matter of investors realizing that opportunity, that they have this unparalleled technological advantage.
But that $4,000 price, we should point out, is the move to completely autonomous vehicles.
Yes,
correct.
That's what gets us.
That's what that's predicated on, because it's got a long way to go at 3. It's only down about 3%, but it's trading below $312 a share.
Tasha, the question to you is, Musk is a serial entrepreneur, and this is just one of many businesses that he has going. Is this a distraction to the intense focus now on Tesla? Is it a distraction to the other businesses, and how are those investors sort of reacting to what's going on here?
We've seen Musk multitask for quite some time. And I think the other businesses, if nothing else, sort of show that he's capable of these impossible feats. He can reland rockets, right? He's sort of this incredible engineer. We think that in terms of Tesla, he's obviously very crucial to the company. I think for all of his companies, he's a talent draw. He's what gets very hardworking engineers to work long hours and to come to the company to begin with. So I think for now we're satisfied, but definitely good to hear that he's focusing on Model 3.
I love the detail, Tim, that's in the story that's in the Wall Street Journal today about this couple who sent Elon Musk a photo of them in Tesla hats and T-shirts, and they were longtime devotees to Tesla, and that really moved him, and that does at least speak to that part of him who possibly could be a great salesman of these vehicles as the company gets larger.
Yeah, he's got a huge base of people out there that are huge fans of his. He seems to thrive off of their excitement for him. He likes that. You can tell that he's on Twitter regularly looking at what people are saying. He'll interact with people if they have issues or comments or criticisms or suggestions. He's very interactive in that way, and there seems to be some suggestion here that he was kind of concerned that these folks wouldn't be able to go along with him into a private Tesla. And basically a weekend ago, he's really kind of taking counsel from people and showing some signs that he was upset about this idea.
Tim, what changes in terms of the management at Tesla going forward, given this very public flirtation with going private? Do they get more, because he is still very close to the people, this small group who counsel him, but do they get more people in there, like another layer of management to kind of because clearly there was a sleeping bag on the floor in the conference room where they were having the board meeting, another detail that's in your story.
What the 17-day period really highlighted was just how under the gun Elon Musk has been, how little sleep he's been getting, how hard he's been working for the last few years. And he has, in a lot of ways, churned through a lot of senior executives around him. I previously reported that more than 50 vice presidents or higher level of executives have left in the past 2 years as they ramped up the Model 3. And so he's always on the lookout for new talent, and he does get talent. People who are among the best of the best want to work for him because he's inspiring. And if they like this idea of going to work there, that it's a mission. It's a mission for renewable energy, for cars that are powered by batteries, that you're getting away from fossil fuels. These are things that really inspire people. The challenge for Elon Musk, however, has been that they tend to leave after a while.